Well, Donald Trump appeared to confirm reports that have been emerging here in the US over the past few hours that the Ukrainian president could be headed to Washington later this week. Donald Trump said that he'd heard Volodymyr Zelenskyy could be travelling to Washington on Friday local time, that is Saturday Australian time, and that the Ukrainian president wants to sign a deal with the United States on the supply of critical minerals. Now, we don't have any detail yet on exactly what this agreement would involve or how it would fit in with Donald Trump's broader push to bring the war in Ukraine to an end. We have seen the US president, since he returned to the White House, dramatically shifting the US position on this conflict, resuming talks with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and also publicly criticising Volodymyr Zelenskyy, calling him a dictator and falsely suggesting that Ukraine was responsible for starting this war. Donald Trump told reporters in the Oval Office a short time ago that this agreement would, in his words, be a very big deal, that it would involve the supply of rare earths and other things. He has previously characterised such an agreement as being necessary to compensate the United States for the military support that it has already provided Ukraine with over the course of this war under the former President Joe Biden. But Volodymyr Zelenskyy had rejected an earlier proposal from the White House because it didn't provide any specific security guarantees. So that has been a real sticking point in these negotiations. We, again, do not know what the text of this agreement will involve. Donald Trump was asked directly by a reporter in the Oval Office what Ukraine would get from this agreement. He said the right to fight on, suggesting that US military support could be sustained for a period of time. He said maybe until there was a deal with Russia. So what this is going to mean potentially for Ukraine, especially in the longer term, is still very unclear. But here is some of what the president had to say.
It's a very big deal. It could be $1 trillion deal. It could be whatever, but it's rare earths and other things. And look, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine and Russia fighting a war that should have never, ever happened. That's a war that would have never happened if I were president.
Jade, has there been any reaction so far from Ukraine?
We haven't heard directly from the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. He has been posting to social media in the past couple of hours talking about a conversation that he had with the French President Emmanuel Macron. That followed Mr. Macron's meeting at the White House with Donald Trump yesterday. The French President very much trying to walk a delicate line with his US counterpart, praising Donald Trump, defending his decision to resume communications with Vladimir Putin, but also stressing in his view that there could not be a peace deal in Ukraine that meant the surrender of Ukraine, and suggesting there must be American backup to any peace agreement. So we haven't heard specifically from Volodymyr Zelenskyy on these reports. There had been signals from both sides that a deal was inching closer, but yet to get any official confirmation that he could be headed here to Washington in a few days' time.